The human who bought her. The auction house smelled like blood, sweat, and fear. Vexa stood on a cold metal platform. Chains were tight around her wrists and ankles. Her purple skin was bruised. Her silver hair hung dirty over her face. She was weak, hungry, tired. The alien guards had dragged her here like a thing, not a person. A large alien with 4 arms stood beside her and shouted, "Lot 49! Useless slave. Weak. Good for pain only." The crowd of aliens laughed. Some made cruel jokes. Others raised their paddles to bid. Most of them were criminals or warlords. Vexa kept her eyes down. She had learned never to look anyone in the eye. That only brought more pain. She didn't care who bought her. Pain was pain. It didn't matter whose hands delivered it. Then suddenly, a voice spoke calmly from the back of the room. 100 credits. The room went silent. Everyone turned. A human stood there. He was older, middle-aged, with a rough beard and tired eyes. He wore a brown jacket and simple boots. He didn't look rich, he didn't look dangerous. But he looked serious. The auctioneer blinked. Human? You want to buy this slave?" The crowd laughed again. "Maybe he wants to take her apart and study her," one alien shouted. "Or maybe he's just lonely," another one sneered. Vexa's heart sank. A human? They were supposed to be worse than all others. She had heard stories, how humans could break your mind without touching your body. She started to shake. The auctioneer shrugged. "Sold. To the human." Guards unlocked her chains. They pushed her down the stairs. She fell hard. The human walked up slowly and helped her stand. His touch was gentle. She flinched. "Don't touch me," she whispered, her voice dry. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said quietly. She didn't believe him. In the transport shuttle, Vexa sat in a corner, her back against the wall. She didn't speak. She didn't move. The human didn't tie her down. He didn't even watch her closely. He sat in the pilot seat guiding the ship through the stars. After a while, he walked over and set a small food box near her. Warm soup. Real soup. Not slave gruel. She stared at it. "Was it poisoned?" "I cooked it myself," he said. "Eat. You need strength." Vexa slowly picked it up and tasted a spoonful. Her eyes watered. She hadn't eaten anything like this in years. It was simple but warm. Her stomach hurt as it filled. "What's your name?" the human asked. She didn't answer. "Mine's John," he said. "John Keller." Silence. "You don't have to tell me your name," he added. "Not until you want to." They arrived at a small, quiet planet. Green trees, blue sky. No war, no guards. Just peace. John helped her off the ship and led her to a small house made of wood and stone. It wasn't a prison. It wasn't a lab. It was a home. She stepped inside and froze. There were no chains, no cages, just soft furniture, lights, and pictures. On the walls, he showed her a room. It had a bed, a window, and even clean clothes. "This is your space," he said. "You can rest here." "I don't understand," Vexa said finally. Her voice was low. "Why?" "Because you deserve it," he said. "You've been through hell. That ends now." "But you bought me." John looked sad. "I paid to get you out, that's all." She looked away. "You'll hurt me later, everyone does." "No," he said. "I won't." That night she didn't sleep. She sat on the bed holding a blanket tightly, waiting, listening. But no one came. No. One screamed, "No pain." In the morning she walked outside. John was planting something in the garden. He looked up, smiled softly, and waved. "Morning." She didn't smile back, but something inside her shifted. Just a little. Could it be true? Could a human really want nothing in return? She didn't. Said no. But she was still alive. And for the first time in years, she felt warm. The human's strange kindness. The morning sun felt soft on Vexa's skin. She hadn't felt sunlight in years. Not real sunlight, just cold lights in cages and ships. She stepped carefully through the garden, still unsure if it was real. The air smelled clean. No burning wires. No blood. Just dirt, plants, and wind. John was kneeling by the soil, planting, something green. He looked up as she approached. "You slept?" he asked gently. Vexa shook her head. "Slaves don't sleep easy." He didn't laugh or joke. He just nodded, like he understood. "Want to help me?" he asked. Vexa blinked. "Help? With what?" "These are earth vegetables, easy to grow. The local soil likes them." She stood still. "I don't know how." "I'll show you," he said. And he did. He didn't command her. He didn't shout. He just placed seeds in her hand and showed her where to press them into the soil. His hands were big and rough, but never touched her without warning. Always gentle. Always slow. Vexa didn't trust it. No one was this kind without wanting something later. Inside the house, things were even stranger. There was a large room with a fireplace, a soft couch, and a wall full of pictures. Most were old. Some were drawings. One caught her eye. A young alien woman with deep blue eyes stood beside a smiling John. Her hand rested on a child's head. Vexa stared. John noticed. "That was my wife. Her name was Sarali. And that's our daughter." "You married an alien?" Vexa whispered. He nodded. "She was strong, brave. We met during the siege of Ralos Prime." Vexa had heard of that battle. Humans were supposed to be monsters in that war. But now, she wasn't sure. "She died," John said softly. "Raiders hit our convoy. I couldn't save her." Vexa felt a strange pain in her chest. She looked away. "I'm sorry." John stood beside her. "That's why I try to save others now. I couldn't save her, but I can help others like her." Vexa shook her head. "I'm not like her. I'm nothing. Broken. Useless." "No," John said, firmly. "You're not." That night she explored the house more. Quietly, in the dark. In a small storage room she found something strange. A crate full of old clothes, not human clothes. Small alien outfits, toys, shoes. She picked up a tiny stuffed creature. Its eye was torn. It looked well loved. John walked in behind her. "Those belong to others I rescued." Vexa froze. "Others?" He nodded. "You're not the first. I've helped a few escape before. Some stayed. Some left to start new lives." "Where are they now?" she asked. "Scattered across the stars." "Free." Vexa didn't speak. Her hands trembled slightly. "I don't expect anything from you, Vexa," John said. "Not work, not thanks, not anything." She looked at him with narrow eyes. "Then why? What do you get?" John paused. His voice dropped low. "Peace." Days passed. Vexa began to relax, just a little. She ate full meals. Her wounds began to heal. She didn't flinch as often. She even asked questions. "Why did you live here alone?" "Too many memories elsewhere," John said. "Why do you care what happens to me?" "Because no one else did." And one day, she laughed. Only for a second. Just a small breath. But it was the first sound of joy she'd made since she was a child. John didn't mention it. He just smiled quietly and kept washing dishes. That night, Vexa lay in her bed and stared at the stars outside her window. She whispered to herself, "Maybe. Not all humans are monsters." Fears and flashbacks. The house was quiet at night. Too quiet. Vexa lay in bed, eyes wide open. The blanket was soft. The room was warm. But her heart was racing. She couldn't stop thinking. Her hands gripped the edge of the mattress like she was still chained. Suddenly, a sharp sound, just the wind outside, made her body jump. Her mind didn't see a tree branch. It saw a guard's whip. She fell into a nightmare. She was back in the slave cage. A cold collar was tight around her neck. She heard cruel voices. One alien held her down. Another laughed as he burned her with a rod. She screamed, but no one came. The pain never stopped. In her dream, someone opened the cage. A tall shadow stepped inside. Human. Cold eyes. Reaching hands. "No," she cried, thrashing in bed. "Get away." John rushed into the room. "Vexa, wake up." She gasped and shot. Up, eyes wild, her breath came fast. She pressed her back against the wall, shaking. He didn't come closer. He knelt near the door and waited. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe. No one's going to hurt you." She looked around, slowly realizing where she was. Not the cage, not the ship, just a quiet room. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them. "I saw him," she whispered. "One of them. He laughed when he hurt me. I remember his face." John's voice was calm. "I believe you." "No one ever believed me," she said. "I do," he said. The next morning, Vexa didn't speak much. She sat outside in the garden, knees pulled to her chest. John walked over and placed a hot drink beside her. Then he sat at a distance and said nothing. Just let the silence sit. After a while, Vexa finally asked, "Why don't you force me to forget?" Everyone else tried. John sipped his drink. "You don't heal by forgetting. You heal by surviving." Vexa looked at the trees. "I don't feel like I'm surviving. I feel like I'm hiding." "You're allowed to rest," he said. "But you're stronger than you think." Later that day, she took a walk through the nearby forest. The sun was warm on her face. The wind whispered through the tall green leaves. Birds made strange sounds. She even smiled once. But something was off. She heard a crunch behind her, then another. Footsteps. She turned fast. Two rough-looking aliens stepped out from behind the trees. They had blades, smug grins. "Look what we found," one said. "A soft little slave out for a walk." Vexa froze. "You got away, huh? Wonder who owns you now." "I'm free," she said, but her voice was shaking. The aliens laughed. "There's no such thing as a free slave, girl." Suddenly a loud voice rang out, "Step away from her." John was there, holding a plasma gun in one hand, his badge in the other. His face was like stone. The aliens snarled. "A human? You think we're scared?" John didn't blink. "You should be." Vexa had never seen him like this, so calm, so sharp, like a soldier ready to kill. The aliens backed off, grumbling, "She's not worth the trouble." They disappeared into the trees. John lowered the gun and ran to Vexa. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, but her hands were shaking. He gently placed a hand near hers. "I've got you. I won't let them touch you." That night, Vexa sat near the fireplace. She looked at her hands, then at John. "You could have left me," she said. "I wouldn't do that. You pointed a weapon at armed aliens. For me." "I'd do it again," he said. She was quiet for a moment. "I don't think I've ever had someone protect me." John smiled gently. "Then it's about time." Vexa looked into the fire. The fear was still there. The memories were still heavy. But something new had started growing, slowly, quietly. Trust. The galaxy hates humans, but not him. The next morning, Vexa woke up early. She wasn't sure what had changed, but for the first time, she didn't feel scared to open her eyes. She stretched slowly. Her body still ached, but not from fresh wounds, just old ones healing. John was already in the kitchen cooking eggs. He glanced over his shoulder. "Morning," he said. Vexa nodded. "Morning." There was a strange peace in the air, like the calm before a storm. Later that day, John took her into town for the first time. Vexa wore clean clothes now. Her hair had been washed. She almost looked normal, but she still kept her head down as they entered the spaceport district, a noisy place filled with aliens of all shapes and colors. People stared, not just at her, but at him. A few aliens moved away when John walked by. Others whispered, "Is that a human? Didn't think they still showed their faces out here." Vexa leaned close to him. "They don't like you." John smiled lightly. "The galaxy has a long memory." At the supply market, a tall merchant with glowing eyes refused to serve them. "No humans," he said coldly. "I'm just here for medicine," John replied. "Then go get it from your war buddies, if they're still alive." John sighed and turned away. Vexa watched it all with growing confusion. She had always been told humans were monsters, but now, it seemed the galaxy hated them just as much. She waited until they were alone. "What happened?" she asked. "Why do they hate your kind?" John stared at the sky for a moment. Then he answered, "Because we didn't play their games." He took her to a quiet hill just outside the city. From there, they could see distant stars blinking through the blue sky. "Long ago," he said, "when Earth was still new to the stars, we were invited to join the Galactic Union. We refused." "Why?" "Because the Union used slaves, Vexa, just like what happened to you. And Earth said no. We fought back instead." She blinked. "You fought the whole galaxy?" He chuckled. "Not the whole thing, just the ones who thought owning people was normal. Did you win?" "We didn't lose." Vexa was silent for a long time. Then she whispered, "You fought wars to free people like me?" John nodded. "That's what my wife believed in. That's what I believed in." Vexa looked away, ashamed. "But I just hid. I survived. I never fought." "You lived," he said. "That's more than enough." Her eyes shimmered. "You sound like my sister. She used to protect me, but she didn't make it." John placed a hand on her shoulder. Soft, steady. "Then we carry her strength now. Both of us." As the sun set, they walked back through town. A patrol of alien security guards stopped them. "Halt. Human male. Present identification." John calmly handed over a card. The guard scanned it, his eyes widened slightly. "You're Commander Keller?" John nodded. "Retired." The guards looked at each other, unsure. "You're the one who evacuated Loran refugees?" "Yes." "Apologies, sir. You're cleared to pass." They stepped aside. Vexa stared at John. "You were a commander?" He smiled. "Long time, Ego." Back at the house, Vexa sat by the fireplace again, thinking hard. "You're not like what I was told." "I know," John said. "Neither are you." She looked into his eyes. "I was told humans destroy everything, that you steal, conquer, break things." "And you?" he asked. "What were you told about yourself?" Vexa didn't answer. He leaned forward. "You're more than what they called you. You're strong, Vexa. You're still here." She said nothing, but a tear ran down her cheek. Not from fear this time, but from hope. She's not worth saving. Or is she? Vexa stood in front of a mirror. Her reflection looked different now. No chains, no bruises, no filth. Just a girl with clean skin, bright silver hair, and tired but clear eyes. Still, when she stared too long, she only saw the slave. John knocked lightly on the door. "You ready? The new clothes look good." She stepped out quietly. "Thanks," she muttered, not meeting his eyes. John smiled. "We're going to meet an old friend today. He might help you get official freedom papers." Freedom. The word still felt strange in her mouth. They rode a small hover skiff across the green valley. Birds flew above them. Trees whispered in the wind. It felt peaceful, too peaceful. But peace never lasted. As they entered a rocky pass, the skiff's screen flashed red. Warning, incoming signature detected. John's hands tightened on the controls. A loud crack echoed through the hills. A blast struck the ground near them. The skiff tipped, skidded, and crashed into the dirt. John rolled up quickly and pulled Vexa behind a stone wall. From the ridge above, 3 bounty hunters appeared, heavily armed, faces masked. "Hand her over, human," one shouted. "She's marked property." John aimed his sidearm. "Not anymore." The leader laughed. "You really think she's worth dying for?" John's voice was calm. "I've died once already. Saving one more life is nothing." The fight was fast. John fired and hit one attacker, but he took a blast to the shoulder. He groaned and dropped behind cover, bleeding. Vexa crawled to him. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," he said through gritted teeth. "Stay down." But the hunters were moving closer. She looked at John's weapon, then at the attackers. Memories filled her mind of being dragged, whipped, laughed at. "You're just a thing. You're not worth saving." And then something broke inside her. No, something awoke. She grabbed the weapon from John's hand, stood up and faced the bounty hunter charging down the slope. He raised his blade. She didn't hesitate. Bang! The blast hit him clean in the chest. He flew backward and didn't move again. The others stopped, shocked. She stared them down with burning eyes. "You want a slave?" she shouted. "Come take one." But they didn't move. They turned and ran. John coughed. That was bold. Vexa dropped beside him, breathing hard. "I thought I was weak." "You were scared," he said. "But you were never weak." She helped him up, her hands now steady. "You still think I'm worth it?" "I don't think," he said with a small smile. "I know." They reached a small outpost where an alien doctor treated John's wound. Vexa sat close, watching. She didn't let him out of her sight now. Later, that night outside under the stars, she finally spoke. "I killed someone today." "You saved me," John said. "And yourself." "I thought I couldn't. I thought I was broken." "You believed a lie for too long," he said. "But now you're rewriting the truth." She looked at him. "I was never worth saving, until you made me believe I was." John touched her shoulder. "You were always worth it, Vexa. You just didn't have someone to remind you." That night she slept soundly for the first time, not because she was safe, but because now she knew she could fight back. Betrayal at the border. The spaceport gates shimmered in the afternoon heat. Vexa walked beside John, her chin held high for the first time. No more rags, no more fear. She wore a simple jacket and boots, just like any traveler. But her heart beat fast. Today, they would file her freedom registration. Today, she would stop being property and become a person. John looked calm, but she could see pain in his eyes. His arm was still bandaged from the bounty hunter fight. "Sure you're okay?" she asked. "I've had worse," he said with a tired smile. They reached the customs booth. A short, bug-eyed alien official sat inside. He looked bored until he saw John's face. His eyes narrowed. "Human? You're not allowed on this side of the port." John handed over his ID. "I'm here under treaty exception. She's applying for refugee status." The officer took the card and scanned it. A green light blinked. He frowned. "Wait here," the officer said and disappeared into a back room. Vexa looked at John. "Something's wrong." "I know," he said. Minutes passed. The door opened. 5 armed guards stepped out. The same officer followed, smiling, like a snake. "She's a fugitive," he said. "Claimed by the Zelkrin Syndicate. Illegal runaway property." "She was enslaved illegally," John snapped. "I have witness data, files, proof." "Don't care," the officer said. "Zelkrins pay well, real well." 2 guards moved toward Vexa. John stepped between them. "Touch her, and I'll burn this entire checkpoint to ash." The guards hesitated, but the officer only smirked. "You don't want a war, human." John's voice went low. "Been in one. You wouldn't survive too." Vexa grabbed John's good arm. "We can't fight them all." He looked at her. "Then, what do we do?" She took a deep breath. Then she stepped forward alone and shouted, "This man bought me. Yes, but he never touched me, never hurt me. He fed me, saved me. Let me sleep under stars. Travelers nearby stopped to look. I was nothing. He made me someone. A small group of aliens gathered to listen. The officer laughed. Nobody cares about a slave. A tall alien in the crowd shouted, I do. Another added, she speaks truth. I saw him treat wounded refugees once. Now the crowd murmured louder. Whispers turned to voices. Voices turned to pressure. The guards looked uncertain. John leaned toward Vexa. You're shaking, she whispered back. I've never spoken that loud in my life. Suddenly another voice rang out. Step away from them. A tall woman in a black coat walked into the crowd. She had Earth's military symbol on her chest. Commander Keller, she said, nodding. Thought you might need backup. John raised an eyebrow. Agent Miri, you're a long way from HQ. Let's just say Earth watches its own, she replied. She turned to the officer. Interfering with Earth diplomatic clearance is a bad idea. The officer swallowed hard. But she's free. And if you touch her again, I'll have you processed by galactic war crimes. The guard slowly stepped back. The officer turned pale. Fine. Take her, but you'll regret it. I already regret listening to you, Miri said coldly. Back at the ship, John sat in the pilot's seat, breathing deeply. Vexa leaned on the wall beside him. You could have left me, she whispered. You could have run, he replied. She looked out the window at the stars. We both stayed, she said. He smiled. That's what makes us dangerous. The price of freedom. Vexa stood at the edge of the observation deck staring at the stars. The galaxy stretched out before her, endless, glowing, alive. She used to think space was a prison. Now, it looked like freedom. The transport ship hummed softly. It was old, patched and slow, but it was theirs. John sat at the controls in the cockpit behind her, checking star maps. His shoulder was still healing, but he didn't complain. He never did. I thought being free would feel lighter, Vexa said softly. John didn't look up. Freedom's heavy. You have to carry it every day. She turned and smiled faintly. You always talk like a soldier. I used to be one. You still are. He chuckled. The next planet was their real. Gol Neros 5, an independent station known for recognizing outlawed refugees. If they registered there, Vexa could live under her own name. No collar, no price on her head. But the moment they entered orbit, something felt wrong. Why are we being hailed? Vexa asked. John frowned. They shouldn't even know we're coming. A message appeared on screen. A deep voice spoke. You have someone we want. Surrender the alien girl, or be destroyed. John's fingers clenched around the controls. Zelkrin Syndicate, they followed us. Vexa stared at the screen. No, we can't run again. We might have to, John said. I won't let them take you. But I won't hide anymore. He looked at her. You're sure? Yes. The ship was small, but it had defenses. John activated the shields. A warning alarm blared. Enemy vessel approaching. They've blocked docking, John said. They're forcing us to land in the cargo bay instead of the refugee terminal. It's a trap, Vexa said. I know, he replied, but we walk into it together. They landed in a dark, cold hangar. No lights, no customs officers, just silence. Then, clanking metal, boots, and voices. A group of armed Zelkrin mercenaries appeared. Their leader wore heavy armor and a cruel smile. Welcome back, little property, he said to Vexa. I'm not yours, she replied. The leader laughed. You're nothing, a broken toy who thinks she's real? John stepped forward. Say, one more word and I'll break your jaw. The mercenary leader raised his weapon. And I'll kill you slowly. John didn't flinch. Try. The first shot came fast. John fired first. Clean, aimed, direct. One of the mercs fell instantly. Vexa ducked, grabbed the backup blaster hidden in her boot, and returned fire. Her aim was shaky, but her heart was steady. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was fighting back. The hangar became smoke and shouts. Sparks flew. Bodies dropped. John got hit in the leg but kept moving, dragging Vexa behind cover. "We're outgunned," she shouted. "I noticed," he replied. Then she saw it. A fuel pipe above the Mercs. "Shoot the pipe," she yelled. John understood immediately. One precise shot. Boom. A fireball lit the hangar. The mercenaries scattered, blind in the smoke. John grabbed her hand. "Go, now!" They ran through the maintenance tunnels, fire behind them. John limped, bleeding, but he didn't stop. Vexa helped him, shoulder under his arm. They reached the terminal gate. Refugee officers were now active, alarmed by the blast. "Emergency registration," Vexa shouted. "I'm seeking protection." The officers raised weapons. "You're armed. Drop your weapons." She threw her blaster aside and stepped forward, arms raised. "My name is Vexa. I was born a slave. I escaped. I am not property. I am not for sale. I am a person." More people had gathered now, station workers, other refugees, travelers. Some started clapping. Others whispered her name. The lead officer scanned her ID. John had already uploaded the documents. Her scars, her DNA proof, the auction files. Everything. The officer looked up. "You're approved. You're free, Vexa." Her knees buckled. She didn't fall, but she wanted to cry. She looked back at John, but he wasn't standing. He had collapsed. Blood was soaking through his pants and coat. His eyes were half shut. Medics rushed over. No, stay awake," she shouted, dropping beside him. He smiled weakly. "Told you. Freedom's heavy." "You're not allowed to die," she said, holding his hand. "I already died once," he said, "the day I lost my wife, but I found something again, found someone who needed saving. You saved me. You saved yourself," he whispered. His eyes closed. "John," but a medic shouted, "He's still alive." Hours later, he was stable. Vexa sat beside his bed in the med center, watching him sleep. A nurse walked in. "He'll make it. Strong heart. Stubborn too." Vexa nodded. "He's human." 2 days later, when John finally woke up, Vexa was wearing a new uniform. Gray flight suit, badge on her chest. "What's this?" he asked groggily. "I joined the refugee response fleet," she said. "They asked me to speak on behalf of former slaves. I told them I'll do more than speak." John chuckled weakly. "Look at you, little warrior." She grinned. "You taught me well." In the final scene, Vexa stood on the steps of the Nairos Assembly Hall giving a speech. Reporters and cameras floated in front of her. "I was born in chains. I was told I was nothing. But one man, a human, showed me I had worth. He didn't save me because I was special. He saved me because he believed all people matter. The galaxy doesn't need more power. It needs more mercy. I stand here today not as a survivor, but as a protector. And if you think I'm just one voice, you're right. But one voice can change everything, because it changed me." As the crowd applauded, she stepped down and walked to the waiting ship. John was there, standing with a cane now, but smiling. "Ready, Commander Vexa?" She smiled. "Ready, old man." They walked onto the ship together, not as a slave and master, not even as rescuer and rescued, but as family. The end.